I almost never throw out old canvases. In fact, some of the most built up, difficult canvases that perhaps the image just wasn't pleasing and you just don't know what to do with it. Sometimes it's tempting to tear it off the stretcher and stretch a new canvas onto it. But I stopped doing that years ago because I found that those textures can lend themselves to a whole new painting. Such as in this case, this little 8x10 is pretty heavily textured, and I just simply sanded it and gessoed it and tinted it with gray. Now, I have in my mind an image that I want to put on the surface, but I got there just by taking a moment to study the textures that were there and think to myself, what exactly could this become? I love painting actual locations, and I love painting en plein air. But in a situation like this, where you've got a canvas in your studio, in your archive, or perhaps on the junk pile, you may want to rework it. And so you really have to kind of put the canvas in a location rather than put a specific location on the canvas. Now my mind looks at those bumps and I can see a little pattern. I can see a feeling for what lies beneath, and I'm going to bring it out. So I start with the dark colors. I've got my dark green here. This is mixed with a little bit of Prussian blue, basically to get a really dark zone. And I'm using the bumps to just kind of fill in the shapes and take advantage of those bumps to create some trees and rocks and textures in the hillside. And then I'm adding a little bit of titanium white and a little bit of phthalo blue, just to get a little bit more of a glow down towards the lower end of the hill. And the reason why I'm doing this, as I've stated in previous videos, if you watch my series, hey, don't forget, by the way, to subscribe so you can be notified whenever new videos are coming up. But I like to move the light towards the center of the painting, and the reason why I do that is because that's part of a technique to draw the viewer into the middle of the painting. Now, it's not a rule for all paintings, but in this particular case, I really want to make that happen. So we'll have sort of darker perimeter, darker low end, but we'll let the color and the lightness happen down through the center so that the eye gets comfortably focused into the middle of the painting. Now I've taken a little bit of azo yellowing here and just full force without diluting it, just drop it right in. Why not have a few little aspens or some tamarack? You know, they turn a golden color. They're some of the first to start changing when the autumn starts to knock on the door. But it also adds a little bit of cheer and charm to this little hillside painting. We could go all dark colors, but that would be gloomy. We don't want to do that. We want to make it cheerful and a happy place. After all, we work all week long and we get away on the weekends. We head out to nature and we want to go there so that we can feel the refreshment and the pleasure and the sheer breaths of fresh air that we are so starved for all week long. And here we are. Now, there's a lake, and this lake is called Cachet Lake. It is in Algonquin Park in Ontario, Canada. It's a place where I love to go and paint often. In fact, many artists do. It's really a panacea for artists, and they come from all over the world to paint there. Not to mention the very famous group of 7 who made it one of their most iconic destinations. Adding a little bit of titanium white to Prussian blue in the center, once again, drawing the viewer's eye into the central zone of the painting. And even as the water comes down lower, I'm still using some lighter color, but then you're going to see here comes the slightly darker Prussian blue. And then I'm going to go even darker than that with some straight on Prussian. There it is. With the whole intention of sort of creating that envelope of your view, sort of embracing you around the perimeter with the darker tones and getting lighter in the center. Along the bottom of my far hillside there, I like to put a straight up dark Prussian blue mixture with Van Dyke brown. That gives us a nice anchored bottom to the hillside. Now I'm going in with Prussian blue mixed with Van Dyke brown into the actual foreground, which has got those two old pines they've seen better days, but they stand as a testament to the great times on Cachet Lake, kind of guardians to the beauty of the place. Drop a little titanium white mixed with azo yellow, and to get that nice kind of a golden reflection of light into the otherwise knobby, weedy foreground. You know, those twigs, the fallen logs, the rusty old rocks. You know, there's not much to them, but when we use a little bit of light and dark to highlight the textures of it all, not to mention those beautiful textures that were present on the canvas right from the very beginning. Well, as you can see, we get a really nice sense of foreground, middle ground on the lake, and then distant foreground on the hillside. Straight up titanium white. I'm going to tap some clouds into the sky, and once again you can see how that texture from the previous painting just lends itself to create a really layered, high relief, impasto kind of a look, even in the clouds. And that's half the work. When artists say that a painting is layered over and over again, it doesn't always mean that the painting itself has many layers. It may mean that they've painted over something a few times. And as in the case with this painting, I really disliked the painting that was previously on this canvas. Couldn't wait to paint over it. So mixing that titanium white with a little bit of the Prussian blue, we get a nice light shade for the sky around the clouds, and it keeps things cheerful instead of going all dark. We don't want it to go all dark. Once again, we're up north, right? We're breathing the fresh air. We want to feel that comfortable vibe. I'm going to drop a little bit stronger Prussian blue down the right-hand side, almost like a bank of clouds that's just clearing away, getting ready for us to come in with our fishing pole or our camera, or maybe our little paint box, and so that we can enjoy a little afternoon right there on Cachet Lake. Now just tidying up all the little bumps and cracks. We don't want any of that gray from the subsurface to show through. We want to saturate it all with color really thoroughly. And that way, all those textures, well, they look intentional, huh? It's a little trick, isn't it? Well, this has been Cachet Lake, and one of my favorite places to paint in Algonquin Park. You can take a canoe and you can go up into the lake, or if you're not so adventurous or perhaps your time is limited, you can park your car right at the access point, right along Highway 60 in Algonquin Park, And you can take your little paint box for a little hike to the right or a little hike to the left, and you can get this view right here of Cache Lake, and all comfortable right there on the shore. There's even a few tables you can sit. Like I said, if you're not so adventurous and you don't really have time to head out on a canoe or go for a long day-long hike, just right there by the shore, there's plenty of places to set up your little paint box and just have a splendid time painting. Now, if you're having a little bit of a splendid time enjoying this little demonstration, I encourage you, subscribe so that next time we do one of these, you can join in again. And like and share. Hey, let's let others know about this too. I'd love it if you'd do that for me. It would be really appreciated. Help get the word out so that we can have more followers, and it helps the algorithm. It helps YouTube know that you're watching. And I'll thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day right here on The Robert Painter on YouTube.